Nice to see you. Everybody looks good. I hope you all look good and healthy. I hope also your families and friends are all well. You know, this pandemic's kind of amazing. It just goes on and on and on, kind of up and then down and up. It's like riding a bit of a roller coaster, and nothing to do but adjust to it, to the circumstances as they come and go. So I hope you all are managing that well. I can see from the screen, I have a new sort of computer setup, and I'm going to have to work on the lighting for the Zoom. It's I'll put some backdrop and get more of a light on my face. It's nice to see you when you're well lit. You guys look great. So I better get that way, especially if I'm going to be talking sometimes. So now we are beginning a period of practicing together. Maybe you've kept the practice going outside of a formal retreat, maybe you haven't, but in any case, here we go on 3 weeks of trying something together. And it's always, most people find it quite beneficial to have Dharma friends, whether we're together in the temple or in your house. You know other people are making an effort, and then it's easier to make the effort ourselves. Buddha said there are 4 fruits from meditation, 4 results that we get from practicing meditation. And the first is loving kindness. I mean, it sounds really nice. Actually, it sounds kind of wimpy. Oh, I love you, you know, I'm so kind. But in Buddhism, it's we also develop wisdom, so it has some bone. But the foundation of actually having love, having a feeling of tolerance and kindness towards others is very wonderful, and towards ourselves. I don't know in Korea, but in America, they teach classes, meditation and self-love. And I remember when I read that, I thought, like, what do you mean you don't love yourself? I mean, yeah, a lot of people don't. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but you don't have to think you're wonderful or great, but you know, the one person you live your life with forever is yourself. It's you, me. So might as well, you know, make a wise effort, and also feel like maybe I'm not so bad, at least sometimes. But we can develop tolerance and kindness towards others. And, you know, you have to decide. I've been in the temple so long, I'm not quite sure what people feel in their everyday interactions outside the temple. You know, I usually get along with people pretty well, even when I go out in public. But I know in America, I feel comfortable commenting on America since I'm an American citizen. People are horrible to one another. They're not kind or tolerant. Probably half the people are really good, but the other half are struggling with themselves and often blaming others. But and we can be like that ourselves sometimes, or blame ourselves. But one of the fruits of practicing is we get a kind of kindness, what Buddha called loving kindness towards ourselves and towards others. And that's like gold, you know, that's a real treasure. Second benefit of meditation is compassion. In English, compassion literally means with suffering. Comes from Latin. Calm means with, and passion is actually suffering. You know, when you go to a movie, you want to see 2 people fall passionately in love. but actually the root of the word means suffering. So it's this willingness to suffer together with others. And this is, what did they say? There's some saying, misery loves company. You know, if you're very unhappy, many times it really helps you have a friend come and pat you on the back and say, okay, we can get through this together. So it's a beautiful ability of humans to relate to others, to have compassion. It's really fundamental to you know, what we would strive for as a human being. And it's part of our original nature. It's already there. We just have to sort of clean up the mind emotion shop that we haven't been taking care of. Third benefit of meditation is joy. You know, everybody wants happiness, but most of our happiness comes from some opposite situation. I get some money, I'm happy. But one day I lose money or I don't have much, I'm unhappy. I'm young and I look strong and beautiful, I'm happy. Then what happens when you get older? You know, you don't look so strong and handsome and beautiful anymore if you're holding on to some idea of what that is. You understand, joy is not dependent on any opposites or even on situation. It's something that naturally arises as we're able to be completely in the present. So it's something that Buddha said naturally arises as you practice meditation. I have to say for myself, maybe I had some problem inside or something. I practiced for many years and I didn't feel joy, you know, but I had faith in the direction and the purpose of practice. And I wasn't only striving for joy, I wanted to become clear and learn how to help others, no matter how I chose to live. And but along the way, suddenly I started to feel pretty happy as long as I just returned to the present moment, even if it wasn't wonderful, but really clearly got moment mind. I felt joy. And that included when I was sick one time and other times. So I think you're all going to be, you're faster than me. And this is one of the benefits that Buddha spoke of, and that we will be wonderful, because most of the joy, happiness in our life is dependent on circumstances. But Buddha taught true joy is a natural condition of our original nature. And it's not dependent on circumstances at all. So it can arise through meditation practice. The fourth benefit of meditation is we attain equanimity. That means we're not moved by good and bad things. Our mind, our body can stay smooth regardless of what's happening. And that's a wonderful thing, because you're centered, you experience clearly what's going on, but it doesn't throw you off center. And everybody has experienced that and experienced all these things sometimes, because it's our very nature. But because over lifetimes we make karma, our experiences of these things are sometimes hindered, often hindered. And then we have suffering, and we also make suffering for others. So this 3 weeks practice is, we'll be practicing, working on meditation mind, which in our teaching means when you're doing something, just do it. So you can, washing dishes just washing dishes, that's a dishwashing meditation without even thinking about it. You know, folding the laundry, cleaning the house, riding on the subway. When we just do these things 100%, meaning our body and our mind in the situation simply become one, that name is meditation. But it's, as everybody's experienced, it's kind of hard to do frequently in our everyday life. So we have these simple practices, bowing, chanting, sitting, and that helps us begin to let go of the thinking, the opposite thinking that takes us out of the present moment. So we're going to do that together. And I had not been that interested in this online practicing and teaching originally, but I saw last winter, oh, it's really kind of good. I can be very good. I feel like I'm in your apartment. In fact, when we cut off, you better look around and make sure I didn't stay there somewhere. You know, maybe I'm in your kitchen eating food from your refrigerator right now as this image of me talks. So actually, don't think about that. But I do feel like we connect in your home, and maybe that gives you some more confidence to practice. You know, certainly for me, knowing and feeling other people are practicing continues to help me tremendously. Every day we take care of our body, we take care of our clothes, we take care of where we live. But how many people really take care of their mind? Most of the time we just put all kinds of junk in there, watching soap operas, looking at our life and other people's lives as it's a soap opera, and not getting necessarily much satisfaction from it. So meditation means also take care of our mind. And our mind is not only our thinking, it's everything. But as Buddha said, thinking makes our life. So if we can relax our thinking, use our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, then we aren't feeling separated from this universe so much. And we're not just in our little idea, you know, my idea. And that can lead to a lot of problems, a lot of loneliness. But if we take that away, then every moment is, as some master said, we see the world as it is right now as the lotus land, and we realize our body as it is right now, it's the Buddha body. That's quite an attainment to realize that. But that comes from our practice. Perhaps, oh, one more thing, very interesting. Buddha said to everyone, who is the best friend? Who is your best friend? And he answered himself, your best friend is a trained mind. Then who is your worst enemy? And he said, your worst enemy is an untrained mind. So all of us have experienced both. So we simply put more effort into training our mind, which means just returning to this present moment. So I'm very happy that we're going to be doing this together again. And thank you very much for joining. And I think right now we have 15 more minutes. If anybody has any question, any kind of question, myself or Hae Tongsanim can take it. So please, you know, raise your hand or unmute your mic if you do. And if you don't, no problem. We can all cut off and sit for 15 minutes. or do whatever is next on your schedule. One brief story then, since we do have a few moments before we cut off. After I'd been living in the Zen Center for a year in America, and I was working outside, I was a layperson, and the way Seung made these centers in the city, he encouraged many students to live together. Then we'd get up in the morning together, do 108 bows, and do sitting and do chanting. Then we'd have breakfast together. Then people would go to school or go to work. And at that time, there was only one woman who actually worked for the Zen Center as the secretary. Everything else was a volunteer job. And I remember when I came, Zen Master Seung had been in America for about 5 years, and he had been teaching for about 4.5 years. So a bunch of Zen centers had started, and I moved into the main one. Now, he wasn't there too much because he traveled constantly, but one of his students became the secretary, which she handled all the correspondence that came and went from Seung Sansanim and organizing his schedule and working with him. And I remember at that time, 1977, she got paid $50 a month. That's about Yuk Man Won every month. Plus, she got to live there and eat for free. And we were young, and there was that energy in America in the 60s and 70s. Let's live together and do something that helps everybody. And of course, many of Seung Sansanim's students also were professionals, doctors and professors, and they had families. So they didn't live in the Zen Center, but they came often. Some came in the morning, but most would come in the evenings for evening chanting and sitting. And every month there would be a 3-day retreat. And Seung Sansanim would be at that 3-day retreat at each Zen Center 6 times of the year. And the other 6 times he'd be someplace else. And so we just did the retreat ourselves without a teacher. And Seung Sansanim led a retreat somewhere every single weekend for years. He'd go someplace on a Thursday, give a public talk, lead a 3-day retreat, and then go back to either Providence when he was on the East Coast, or the Talmasa, the Zen Center in Los Angeles on the West Coast. And then next Thursday, go someplace else. So he was quite very steady, busy. And after about a year, I decided to do a solo retreat. And I got a friend who had a place in the mountains on the East Coast. And I made a schedule, and I made a simple eating thing. Actually, it was very stupid. I took oatmeal that I could boil water for and carrots. I mean, it was totally ridiculous. But anyway, I made better diets since then. But I made a schedule. I liked chanting. So I was doing like 500 bows a day and 8 hours of chanting and a bunch of sitting. And that's all. And on the middle day, I suddenly had to go to the bathroom right before my 9 a.m. meditation period. And when I came back, I was late. And I was so angry at myself. I just laid on the floor, on the ground. Actually, I stayed in an American teepee. You see it in cowboy movies. You know, the Indians would live in these, on the plains Indians, the Indians who lived on the flat areas of America in the middle. They would have these wood logs that would go up, and they cover it with buffalo skin, and they could move when they had to follow the food. And a friend had one of those on his property, and I stayed there. And the top has a hole in it. So if you make a fire, the smoke goes out. I was so angry, I laid on the floor, on the ground, and just looked out the hole for 9 hours. It was really amazing experience for me. And all I saw was blue sky and occasional cloud. And I was angry the entire time. But I didn't leave, and I didn't get up and do anything. And I didn't even eat. And then towards 6 o'clock in the evening, I think my anger came down a little bit. And I had arranged my morning and evening schedule, so I practiced at the same time as Providence Zen Center people. And it was getting towards 6 o'clock, and I thought to myself, my whole life's destroyed. I can't even do a 7-day retreat and keep the schedule. My practice is destroyed. I'd kill myself, except I knew that wouldn't make it better. It would make everything worse. So I was totally stuck. But as this anger energy came down a little bit, I thought, well, it's almost 6 o'clock. My life's finished, but they're going to start chanting at Providence. So, okay, I'll chant. So then I chanted 6 to 7, and my life's still finished. Well, what am I going to do? Okay, they're sitting. So I'll sit. So I sat till 9, and then I thought, well, I'll go to sleep. And I hope during the sleep, the whole universe disappears. And guess what? I woke up at midnight, which was my schedule. And then I thought, well, I might as well just keep the schedule and finish the retreat. And, that's what? 1978. How many years ago was that? 43 years. So I'm still around. So it was very helpful that, it's 6 p.m. They're chanting at Providence. So, okay, I'll chant. And then I'm back in, as we say, if you fall off a horse, get back on it. If you fall off 5 times, get back on, and eventually you're riding the horse. Okay. So it was very helpful for me to know other people are practicing. So whatever schedule you make, know that there's lots of other people practicing too. And all of you, also the peoples in Kyolche, and actually, people all over the world. And so it's worth us. We're connected, whether we feel it or not, and that can provide a lot of support and help. So everybody, please do it. One of Seung San's 2 favorite sayings: "Just do it." Ojik halpun, was one of his other favorite was "Only go straight, don't know." In fact, usually he'd say, "Only go straight, don't know. Okay, just do it." So they kind of go together. So if you have questions, we'll have the coffee hours on Saturdays. We'll have interviews. And also, if you really have a question about practice and don't want to wait till then, you can write an email to Bo Poissonim, and she'll pass it to me or Hae Tongsanim, and we'll try and make time also to give you an answer. So great to see you. Take care. Stay healthy, get enlightenment, save yourself and all beings from suffering. So thank you very much. See you again soon.